Trading is closed on February 27, 2023. We start with our disclaimer, go over our calls, and then make some predictions. I know people tend to skip over this, but every now and then I'd like to remind people not to make a market call unless you give the reason for the call. Someone did that over the weekend, and I deleted it because I think a call without an explanation is totally worthless. Anyone who wants to do that is free to get his own channel. I didn't block the person because he'd made reasonable comments before, but if you break the rules, I will block you. I just want content on my channel to be relevant, and an opinion without a reason to me is worthless. Please remember that all my calls can be wrong. Any trade you make should be at your own risk. Well, here's what we said. We said if last Friday's low held, we should go higher before long, but the rally didn't have to start immediately. We could still be consolidating. Look for the pattern with the early low, which is what I'm calling this. Now, if this were the only thing you would see, you'd think it was the pattern with the early high. I'm pretty confident it still is the pattern with the early low. The times work. You just have to remember when there's a gap opening that the early low point tends to split, and so you have to take the average of the open and this low to get the time whenever there's a gap like this. And when you do that, you still have the early low, the midday drop, and the late high. And tomorrow should also have the early low. Now this late high, this green line is a prior FOMC announcement price. It's perfect support resistance. So support held, and now it's resistance. We stopped right at resistance. When this pattern isn't positive, it tends to lead to lower prices. Unless we take this high out tomorrow, I think we'll see lower prices, but that doesn't mean you have to close lower. During the day, MEJT said all these moves would retrace, and they already have. Now, we went over the reasons why. I think we've completed an ABC on the daily chart. That's not it. And also on the weekly chart. Now, confluences like this don't happen every day. Just because it's pretty doesn't mean it's right. But it's only once every year or two I get such a confluence of waves on different times. And until it breaks with conviction, I'm going to stick with it. And if I'm wrong, the stop is close enough. It's this low, give or take a little. And if I'm right, we're going to new highs. You have to find some way to count these waves after that low. And I don't think that's clear, but if this is one, we could be making an ABC. And if that's A, C would be twice A around 39.7150, and also at that price, if wave C had an ABC configuration, you'd have good FEB relationship between A and C at 78.6. So just because that works doesn't make it right, and just because that works doesn't mean something else won't. But I do think, and if we don't take this high out early, and we probably won't, it's pretty far away, that there's a chance we get a drop to 39.7150 and then recover. It's a reasonable pathway. I'm not going to claim it's the only one. But until that falls, I'm sticking with the idea that that's a major low. So tomorrow's pattern has early low. We could still gap up. Today's normally bullish pattern didn't close near the high, so unless we gap and clear that price promptly tomorrow, the pattern's negative should lead to a lower price printing. That doesn't mean we have to close lower. The last video went over the reasons why I think the Friday low is a major low, just because I think it doesn't make it right, but there's a lot of reasoning behind it. So long as that low is not undercut significantly, I'm going to stay with it. Now if, that's an if, we reverse from around 39.71 cash tomorrow, that interpretation would gain credibility. Doesn't mean other numbers don't work. So I still think that low is going to hold. I think there's a chance we get support here and then recover. And if I'm wrong, we'll undercut this significantly, and then that's your stop. You have to put a stop someplace. And if I'm right, there's very much upside. So I think the call has a good risk-reward ratio, which isn't to guarantee it works, but I'm going to stay with that until I'm proven wrong. Tomorrow has the early low, and that's today's call.